Thank you all for coming to my presentation today. I'm just going to jump right in. This summer, I worked for AQ Green Tech, an emissions management consulting company in Hamburg, Germany. When I was there, we did a lot of full event carbon footprints, but most of our time and energy was actually spent on calculating attendee travel. And most of the carbon within that footprint was attributed to that attendee travel. If we zoom in right here, we can see that air travel accounts for 5% of total global greenhouse gas emissions, and it's one of the fastest growing sectors of emissions. So it makes sense that up to 95% of the greenhouse gas footprint of an in-person event or convention comes from participant travel, as air travel is such a carbon-intensive activity. We can frame this by looking at the industry. So conferences and trade shows are a large industry, accounting for $1 trillion in spending annually. And that means that there's a big industry with a high intensity activity, meaning there's a lot of room for impact with reductions, which becomes my research imperative. Like I said, I worked with AQ Green Tech this summer, and my research was focused on analyzing an historical event attendee travel data set, and I evaluated counterfactual event location scenarios to determine opportunities for emissions reductions, which led me to my research question. What are methods for reducing emissions from attendee travel in the event and convention industry, and how can we enable their implementation? So not just what the methods are, but real pathways to getting there. Here are my results. So I did a case study on attendee travel carbon footprint of a real in-person event, which means that I essentially evaluated the difference in the carbon footprint of the same attendees traveling to a different location. This counterfactual analysis revealed that per attendee emissions were reduced from moving from the original location in California to a counterfactual location in Illinois, despite over 50% of the attendees being from California. This is due to the huge impact that international attendees have, who have the longest average travel distance and the highest per attendee emissions. In an additional scenario, I found that partial online attendance can reduce emissions by 37%. And that a reduction in the mean distance traveled per attendee is associated with lower carbon footprint per attendee, which can be seen in these two rightmost columns of Table 2. But what I really want to focus on is this system right here. The carbon footprint of an in-person event is intrinsically linked to the average distance that an attendee must travel. Therefore, the most effective method for reducing emissions is by choosing the most geographically efficient location for your target audience. The geographic distribution of your target audience can be revealed by data on past events, as it is not always the same as the geographic distribution of the population of the United States, so it can change what is most central for your attendees. This brings me to my recommendations to reduce emissions for event organizers. So number one is to choose the most central venue for your target audience. Number two is to reduce attendees flying long distances, so those high impact international attendees. And number three ties right into that by saying to limit international participants to online participation and to offer enhanced remote participation options. What I want to focus on here is the enabler. So attendee travel data quality and availability must be improved to enable the implementation of these recommendations industry-wide and to determine venue centrality. This is significant because knowing your audience is key to choosing a carbon efficient location, and good data collection is key to knowing your audience, which are very important considerations for industry professionals. Additionally, quality online options make partial online participation a real option and also increase accessibility regarding disability and finances. So people who previously were not able to travel to in-person events or conventions due to physical disability or financial constraints can now participate in these events from remote options. What I want to focus on here is that by thinking about institutionalizing responsibility for environmental impact and mitigation instead of working on the individual level, for example, individuals offsetting their flights through carbon credits, we can make a larger impact with the force of that $1 trillion per year industry. I want to thank everyone who supported me throughout my undergraduate career and my capstone, and everyone who came to my presentation today. Thank you.